Hiya, it's Paul. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about the kinds of ways that other people can help you. One of the things you're going to need at some point is you're going to need someone else to look at what you've written. And there's a number of ways you can do that. One of the ways is you can get yourself an editor. Now there's probably many more ways you can break this down, but there are really two ways that you can edit your manuscript. One of the ways is structurally, and the other one is on a sort of a very low level, punctuation and grammar level. Structurally, what you're looking for are continuity errors, a mystery that doesn't get resolved, murder, like a whodunit or a detective story which doesn't have enough clues, so you can't even get close to working out who might have done it. Logical gaps, things that don't make sense. Characters whose names change part of the way through the novel. People who are mentioned and then never get mentioned again. Now sometimes you can do that deliberately, and to great effect. There's a fantastic novel called The Corner That Held Them, and that is a fantastic novel for characters kind of walking in and then walking out and you never see them again. But it works really well. But a lot of the time you don't want to do that. So these big kind of jigsaw pieces all being put in the right place and making sure that none are missing, that's one level of editing. Another level of editing, which you'll do right at the end, like I've said in a previous video, is the sort of the spelling, punctuation, and the grammar. And sometimes you can strike lucky and you can find a really good editor. And in the old days, you would have been given an editor. You've got yourself an agent. Your agent would have hooked you up with the publisher, and the publisher would have performed a lot of the editing with you, and you wouldn't have had to do that with another third party. These days, no one edits. It really is a dying art, which is such a shame because there's such a lot of rubbish that gets put out as a result. I was given a look-see at somebody's novel that was up on Kindle, and I counted, I think it was 20 spelling mistakes on the first page. I think there were 2 spelling mistakes in the first sentence, and one of the spelling mistakes just totally changed the meaning of the text. And it was something like, it was supposed to say "I live in," and then the name of the place that they lived. But instead of saying "I live in," it says "I like in," and so it was just gibberish. And when you start a novel like that, it doesn't really fill you with promise for what's to come. So yeah, editing is tough because we spend a huge amount of time stopping ourselves from being editors while we're writing, while we're being creative, and then suddenly we've got to bring it all back and do a good job of this thing that we've been kind of suppressing and trying to push to one side and not listen to that voice. So really one of the best ways you can get edited is to find another person to do it for you and with you. Now, what I suggest is this, that you get an editor in right at the end. Okay? Try and do as much of it as possible yourself in the early stages, because it's going to be, I think, a lot less painful for you if you do it that way. And then also for a lot of people who are working to a budget, not having to pay hundreds of dollars to somebody to look over a manuscript early on and then again and then again and then again as it's being developed, that makes sense. What I suggest you do is you get yourself what are called beta readers. And beta readers, alpha, beta, and release are terms that I'm familiar with from the video games industry. And an alpha is when something takes shape and it's the right shape. A beta is when all the features are complete and it's just a matter of tidying up errors, and then you can release. So a beta reader is somebody who's going to come along and read the novel when you've written all the chapters and you've had another look through it and you think it makes sense, but now you want someone else's opinion. And beta readers can be really, really useful. You don't always want a beta reader to be someone in your close family. It can cause a lot of ructions if you get somebody to be one of your beta readers and they clash with you. But equally, when you take on beta readers, when you take on an editor to help you, then you do want to be open-minded. You do want to listen to what they're saying, even if you disagree, because they're presenting an opinion which is really useful to you because it's a different perspective. And you mustn't discount that, even if you don't agree with it. I think a mistake that a lot of writers can make is that they get very attached to the things they've written and they're not prepared to cut when necessary. So beta readers can help you to do that. They'll read through your novel and they'll say, things like, the car in chapter 3 was white and then it seems to be blue in chapter 7. Is there something going on there? And then you can go, oh, I didn't see that. Or they'll say to you, I don't get it. What happens to so-and-so? In chapter 5, they seem to be all set to go off and do something, and then they kind of just seem to get forgotten. And then you go, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. So, and things like that. So your beta readers are really useful people. And whilst you are really, really interested in your novel all the way through, someone else, they probably don't share your passion for your novel while you're busy struggling through the early stages. So again, beta readers, you're going to engage them towards the end of the process once you've got a complete manuscript. If you're really lucky, you might get someone to read your early work even when you've not finished it. But the danger with doing that is that someone might say something and it'll really throw you or put you off, and you don't need any more excuses to quit than you already have. So don't listen too much to other people's opinions until the manuscript is complete. And remember, the first draft is a piece of SH1T, and Hemingway said that, so it's okay. All right, so if Hemingway says so, you can relax and not worry too much about what your first draft is like. As you redraft, it's a different story, and you're going to improve and you're going to change things around, and that's when beta readers and eventually an editor are going to be really, really useful to you. Okay, so the big takeaway from today's video is finish your manuscript. Do the thing where you stick it away in the drawer or you leave it on the computer for a while, backed up. Don't forget to make copies, and then come back to it, do another revision, and then hand it over to someone else to have a read through and see what they come up with. And you'll be amazed at the things that people notice. And don't be gutted and upset if they don't notice all your amazing little tricks of language. Don't be upset if they don't like the story. You're looking for people to spot mistakes and errors because that's going to help you. So in a way, if they come back to you with a big long list of this is wrong and that's funny and this is suspect, and that's brilliant for you. Okay, so reward them, buy them lots of beer or whatever it is that they want. And then get yourself an editor right at the end, and get yourself an editor who's going to then do the final polish. And they'll do the structure, they'll do the momentum and the pacing of the story, and then also the grammar, punctuation and spelling and all that kind of stuff. So once you're at that stage, great. I mean, what a brilliant place to be at when you've got a completed manuscript and then you're worrying about how to get it ready for publication. So if you get there, congratulations. I've forgotten what day it is on the vlogging challenge, but anyway, I hope the music didn't drown out what I was saying, and I hope it didn't distract you from what I was trying to tell you. We'll see. Okay, well, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.